Hello, this is Angela Anderson. Thanks for joining me today. We are going to be painting a Van Gogh. This is his lemons, still life with lemons on a plate. And this is my version of it. We'll try to get as close to the original as we can. And let's get started. Alright, so this is my example. We've got some different techniques used in this one today. I was trying to kind of figure out how he did his original, so hopefully we got somewhat close. I don't know. You realize why the masters are so popular when you try to copy them, because you're like, whoa, there's a lot of colors in this. There's a lot going on. Got my husband Mark with me today.
Hey there, everybody.
He's going to be man in chat for us during our live show. So if you've got questions, you can ask him. This is my Patreon bonus show, so some of you might be watching the replay 2 months from now, but today we are doing it live with my Patreon folks, so we want to thank them for making this possible. All right, let me get started here. I started out with a 9 by 12 inch panel board, and I found that the board is probably best for this particular project because there's so much line work in there, and we're actually going to be using a pen to do some of the line work. You can use a brush, a liner brush instead. So don't feel like if you if you don't have a pen and ink set that you have to go out and buy one to do this. I'll show you how to do it with the brush, but it just saves a little bit of time using the pen, and there's links down in the description to the sets that I'm using today, the inks and the pens. So anyhow, if you want to follow along with that, but I would recommend using a firm board, either a canvas panel that you've painted a couple of times with gesso to make it as smooth as possible, just to make it a little bit easier for the line work on this one. So I'm going to move this off to the side here.
You ready for palette cam?
Yes.
Here it comes.
Deploy palette cam. Go.
Done.
Nice.
Okay, I'll see you in an hour.
Okay, yeah, that's Mark's contribution. I like it. All right, so I put the original up there in the corner. That's the Van Gogh original painting, and I went ahead and kind of pre-sketched it just to make sure that I got the proportions right, because I think when I did mine, the plate or these lemons on this plate got a little bit too far down. I left too much white space. You can see this white space up here compared to the original. They're farther forward. So I made sure that I did it correctly on this one. I re-sketched it this morning. And I'm going to use my Luminance, well, this is just a colored pencil, to do the pre-sketch on here. You could use a watercolor pencil if you wanted to erase, or you could do it with this and then kind of re-sketch it with this if you want to. So I did it in chalk first, and then I'm going to go over it with my colored pencil because I do want some of these lines to show through. So the first thing that I did was figure out where this table is, and it is right at the third. So if you kind of split your canvas into thirds, he did the top line right at the third. So I'm going to do a line across there and a little bit right here. So just kind of try to figure out. He actually, in the original, there's a little dip right here, kind of comes up, and then about right on the quarter mark. So if you took it in half and then halved it again, that's where the corner ends, and then it goes to about the halfway mark on this side. So if you split this in half, it angles right to there. Okay. Then the plate is going to go just above. So I kind of start in this corner, and it kind of comes out and down a little bit. It angles slightly to the side. It's not straight down. Here it angles slightly out, and then it curves in and goes all the way down to about, so if there's our halfway mark, here's our quarter mark. which would be right about here. So just maybe a 1/2 inch below the quarter mark on this one, and just kind of gradually round this out so that it meets this and kind of flattens out a little bit right here, and then curves up and back around. Gets real close to the edge right here, and then curves in, and then you kind of just have to imagine this line continuing through this lemon, up and around. It goes up slightly, but it's kind of almost straight across. It's just above this line, so just slightly above the table line, and then kind of imagine that this curve is meeting up right there. So it's kind of a long sideways oval shape. So you just want to make sure that these lines all match up right here, going all the way through to here and back around. Like that. All right, then our plate also has kind of a rim that comes around like this. And this will help us place the lemons, so we'll go ahead and put that rim in. And I'm looking at this one. This lemon is a little bit in where I drew it. Leave a little bit more of that rim. Okay, so let's place this lemon up here first. This one's our biggest one in the back, and it's, I actually had Mark get me a lemon this morning. He was at Walmart, so so the first lemon's setting in the back, and it's kind of at that angle. You can kind of see how, depending on how it's tilted, you're seeing a little bit more of the rounded shape. You're not going to see the pointy part. It's actually kind of a football shape if you kind of look at it. It's sort of got those tapered ends. But this end is kind of facing just right so that it's almost perfectly rounded, slightly oval. And just draw that in there. And then this lemon here kind of comes to a point. You're seeing just a slight bit of probably this end, maybe. I don't know. No, it's probably this end. You're probably seeing just a little bit of that sticking through right here. So you're seeing the back end. Nice rounded right here, and then it's slightly pointed right there. That. Then let's go ahead and do this one that's kind of setting on the plate itself, where it's kind of right along that rim edge. You can use that as the guide for this. There's kind of a circular section right here, and then kind of another circular section behind it. Kind of makes that there. Its mouth is a little bit farther out than this one, or that's the stem, I guess. And this lemon doesn't have as much of a pronounced stem end, but it's sticking out a little bit on this one. So we're gonna do kind of a smaller circle and then a larger circle sort of above it. And then this is gonna go right up against the lemon here. Gonna angle up and away, and then back down sharply, and then there's a pretty pronounced back end, like a little nub right there. That little section right there, right here. Angles in and then curves right back around. It goes right along that rim edge. He's sitting right along the rim there. Oh, good. Thank you, honey.
Yeah, I just thought of that.
Good job.
We're about done, so I figured I'd zoom in.
Okay.
And so where do they get the board that already has the lemons traced out on it? Is it available in the links down below?
They can get the traceable and trace it on themselves,
okay.
yeah, if they
All
want
right.
to.
All right. You can't just buy it pre-done.
I should do that. That'd be a good idea. Do sell some paint by number type deals, kits. It's probably be popular. All right, so this one kind of spans the two here. It's almost kind of right. If you did a line right up the middle here, it's about equal distant on either side. So it kind of curves up, angles in, has that kind of classic football shape. Right here, you're seeing the side of it. And here, it's kind of more sort of flat on the top and then angled in. So flat across and then sharply angled down, and then you just see a little bit of the back end there. And then this one is kind of starts just below where this one ended, curves up, and then it has its nub on the end here, just kind of a circular area right here, and then its neck, and it angles up this way and goes just above the plate. So the end of it is about right here, and it goes straight across like that. That's our drawing, not too bad. If you are struggling with it, or if you want to try it yourself, what I would do is print out the lemons on your traceable or the original picture of the lemons from Van Gogh that it is royalty free, so we're not copywriting anything, we're not using anything that's under copyright. It's been over 70 years since he passed away, and actually this is the anniversary of his death today.
July 29th?
July 29th in 1890.
Wow.
Yeah. I didn't plan it that way, but it when I was
That's
looking up
pretty
facts about it, it's kind of freaky, actually.
Wow, yeah.
So,
Well,
all right, there we go. You can zoom out a little bit more.
go.
There we go. Okay. All right, so let me go over our palette, and I looked up to see kind of what colors he used, and I got as close as I could to his palette. He used a color name called Van Dyke Brown, and I didn't have the exact color, so I kind of used 3 browns that I got: raw umber, burnt sienna, and then Prussian blue, ultramarine blue, and cobalt. He used all 3 of those. And then cobalt teal, which is a mixed color, but I didn't want to have to mix it myself, so I just used that one. This one is Viridian green. That's a green that I haven't used before, but phthalo green blue shade is pretty similar to it. So if you have phthalo green blue shade or phthalo green, you could add a little bit of the blue to your phthalo green yellow shade and get something similar to that. It's just a nice dark green with a little bit of blue tint. This is as close to emerald green as I could get. It's light green permanent. This is light green yellow shade. And then this is cadmium yellow medium. And then he used a lemon yellow, which I didn't have. So I've got cadmium yellow light and cadmium yellow primrose, which is even lighter than cadmium yellow light. It's a little bit closer to lemon, probably. This is cadmium orange, which he did use, and alizarin crimson, which is close to carmine, which is a color that he used. And he used rose madder or madder something red. So anyhow, alizarin was pretty close. Quinacridone magenta would be similar to that. You could add a little bit of brown to tone it down, maybe a little bit of burnt sienna to your alizarin or quinacridone magenta and get it close to alizarin crimson if you wanted to. And then white, titanium white. So he used a different white that I don't have. So, but we'll just.
Well, why didn't he pick colors that you had?
He didn't know that I was going to do this, apparently.
Oh,
so.
Okay. You didn't coordinate this.
I didn't coordinate with him.
Okay.
No.
All
So
right.
I'll do better next time. All right. So I'm going to use a Filbert brush to fill in, and I'm just going to go ahead and do the tabletop first, and I'm going to use the cobalt teal, which is kind of like teal. You could mix your green with some yellow, or your blue with some yellow. I mean cobalt blue with some yellow to get a color similar, but I just had this color already, so I decided to use it since we're going to be using so much of it. And I am going to add just a tiny touch of cadmium yellow light to green it out just slightly. There we go. Good enough. And I'm going to go pretty rough with this. One thing I noticed is he's got a lot of the background color showing through. So he's kind of using very short, choppy brush strokes, it looks like, letting some of the background colors show through, kind of scumbling the color on a little bit. And I'm actually not worried about getting it on the plate, because the plate does have a little bit of this color along the rim.
Did you say scumbling?
Well, scrubbing. Scumbling is actually white color or lighter color over the top of dark.
I think you're making up words again.
No, I'm not. All right, so just kind of changing up my brushstroke direction and leaving just a little bit wispy bits of the background color showing through here and there, especially kind of around that edge of the table. There's a little bit of that background color showing through. And I think his background was actually a little bit more on the pink side. One of the things that I read was one of the grounds that they used on the canvases. Of course, they didn't have gesso, I guess, yet, so they used other materials to prime their canvases, and the canvas backgrounds generally had a slight pink tint to them, so when we do this background part up here, I'm going to kind of add just a slight pink tint to the color. Here I'm just going to pull it sideways, kind of. Right. I actually found this very fun. Van Gogh's one of my favorite artists. I did a long paper on his life in college, and he's a fascinating guy. Had absolutely no success with painting in his lifetime. He only painted for 10 years, but he did hundreds and hundreds of paintings in that time, and then took his own life. I don't know.
Hopefully we have a different agenda.
Well, yeah, I don't think that painting actually drove him insane. I think it probably prolonged his life. I'm sure he probably might have succumbed earlier if he didn't have painting express himself, maybe. I don't know. I like to think that, at least. But all right, I'm adding a little bit of the Viridian to this color to deepen it up in this corner. Viridian green. And it's pretty sloppy. It's not smooth, so I'm really kind of leaving a lot of brushstroke texture in there. And I'm not going to do all under here, because this is all going to be that darker blue, so I'm not going to even bother doing around right there. Whoop, grab some of that cobalt there. Grab a little bit of the Viridian. We'll do this area up here. Might be a little bit lighter than that. Maybe a tiny bit of the yellow to All right, now he didn't use black. That was one of the things. It looks very black in that corner there, right along this plate, but he used black early on. This painting was done in Paris, and he was influenced by the Impressionists there. This is considered post-Impressionist style painting. So he was kind of late on the scene in the Impressionist world. But Seurat, who did pointillism, was one of his. Well, is it Seurat? Look that up. Look up. I think Seurat's the one that did the pointillism. Anyhow,
how do you spell his name?
Seurat.
Seuart. Okay.
Rat. Seurat. Seurat. Anyhow, he used if I'm not mistaken, he's the guy that used all the little brush strokes, and it was saying that that's kind of that he was influenced by that, and he started doing that in his paintings in that time period in Paris. So he experimented with a lot of different styles in his lifetime.
Yes.
Seurat. Okay.
Georges Seurat. And
Pointillism.
Paul Signac.
Signac.
Vincent
Yes,
van
those are
Gogh,
those guys.
Vincent van Gogh. Several others.
Yes. Okay, so I'm adding raw sienna to the Prussian blue. It's making a really dark, almost black color here. I'm going to use that in here. There we go.
So what color did you paint the background of the...
It's cobalt teal, and it had...
No, the canvas itself, is it?
Oh, this is unbleached titanium.
Unbleached titanium, okay.
Yeah. Okay, I'm very lightly going to kind of dry brush some streaks there. Nice and dark against that background right there. Use the burnt umber, see if that helps. Yeah, I think the burnt umber makes it even darker. So we'll go right up against that edge. I'm just going to use the edge of my brush. Yeah, there we go. This is nice and kind of dark. Going right along the edge of that plate there, about right there, and then it kind of turns lighter as it goes around that corner, so I don't want to go too dark right there. I might have covered up too much of that background. Oh, I didn't put out my unbleached titanium. Hello. Need that. I'm just going to put a little bit of that color back in, then we'll go back over it again. Okay.
So I want to give a special thanks to our Patreon supporters who have been making the palette cam a reality.
Yes.
For us. It's because of your generous donations to Angela's channel that made it possible. So thank you so much.
Yeah, it is nice not to have to worry about picking it up and holding it in front of the painting or anything like that to show you what I'm doing. It's great. All right, I'm putting out a little bit of glazing liquid here and grabbing some ultramarine blue. I'm going to grab some cobalt blue too. A little bit of both of those colors. And we'll use a little bit along the bottom edge here. I'm going to grab a little bit of Viridian and cobalt teal. Gonna make a darker shadow color right here. Along that rim a little bit with that color. Just using the edge of my brush to kind of draw that in. And going back to that darker blue. Kind of transitioning these two colors together. Right there. Add just a tiny bit of alizarin crimson to that ultramarine to make it a little bit more on the violet blue side. I think his ultramarine was a little bit different than mine. It's very, very vibrant color. I don't know if this is an accurate, add just a touch of white to brighten it up slightly. There are 3 little things, and it kind of comes off from the bottom of that and angles out. So it kind of comes from the bottom of this one and angles out. So that's kind of where we want to put them. So there's 1, 2, 3, and then a couple more right there. And then there's kind of a smudgy section right here. More lines, and then this one here I'm gonna kind of darken up right there. Alright, we'll let that set. We'll probably mess with it a little bit more. I actually might want to go over this just slightly with my cobalt teal while it's wet and kind of blend these two together just a little bit. A little bit of cadmium yellow light to yellow it up. Grabbing some of that more green color. Put down here. Grabbing some cobalt to mix in with that. A little bit of this lighter blue that kind of comes around here. I will definitely be using a lot of these colors in multiple places and kind of using little bits, kind of like when we did the Monet one. You know, I think he switched around colors quite frequently, and so there's a lot of transitions between different colors, little bits of color here and there, but you know, it's not a solid application of color, so it's kind of hard to replicate exactly. We won't get the, you know, brush strokes, stroke for stroke looking exactly the same, but we'll get it as close as we can to sort of the feeling. I mean, I guess we could if we were trying hard enough and going, you know, spending hours and meticulously, you know, going over brush strokes, but that doesn't sound very fun. We'll just do as good as we can.
So is this something that he would have done over a period of days or just one sitting?
I think he did his pretty quick. Yeah, I think he did multiple a day, and like he would do hundreds and hundreds in, you know, a very short period of time. He's very prolific. I think he did 200 paintings while he was in Paris over 2 years, maybe. I don't know. That might not be right. But
Well, you're kind of on that pace.
yeah, that's true.
You're doing about over 100 a year
Yeah,
right now, so
yeah.
he's got nothing on you.
Mm-mm.
You show him up.
There you go. No, I think it might have been even more than that. I can't remember. Oh, I was looking up different facts, but all right. So that's good. His is much more like antique-y. If you noticed, his is kind of more dirty. It looks, like I think he probably had fingerprints in there and smudged it, and who knows what. It might have been already a little bit dirty canvas before you started. So we'll dirty it up a little bit towards the end to make it a little bit messier. But I'm going to spray that.
So did he do any stills of donuts?
I don't think so. I don't know if donuts were around then. Are you still looking for some donut art?
Well, no. Well, the Jim Gaffigan, said that there's a reason why there's no paintings of donuts.
Right. There's a lot of fruit paintings.
A lot of fruit.
Because you could leave the room and come back and nobody's touched it.
Nobody touched the fruit. You leave the room, come back, the donuts are gone.
Right. Yeah. That old kid is so funny. I'm sure he got a lot of donut art after that. I'm sure there's a lot of people that send him donuts. Donut art, donut painting. I considered it, honestly did. But, okay, so I'm kind of darting it up here with this black color, just that sort of black underpainting color there. Kind of going over some of these sections with just kind of a light, very light wash. I've got very little in my brush here. Just going to dirty up the canvas, making it look a little bit more aged. Okay, a little bit better now. And then there is some lines in this in black right here, or in your dark brown black color that we mixed right here. Okay, I'm going to call that good for now. Let's go ahead and wash a little bit up in this background area. I'm going to use a little bit of the glazing medium and the raw sienna. Touched a little bit of burnt sienna too. I'm just going to glaze a little bit of color on in this background area underneath where we're going to be doing all of our line work. And you could save this till after you do your line work too, but I did both. I did it first and then I went back over it again, so. It's going to look kind of messy and uneven, but that's all right. Just trying to get the brush strokes sort of, these ones kind of go down. And there's kind of an area, whoops, not that dark. And there, that's pretty dark. And this is where I'm going to add just a tiny, tiny bit of the alizarin crimson to that color. Kind of make it a little bit more rosy. The glazing medium will kind of make it dry a little bit quicker when you have it very thinned out like this, so just be aware of that. You kind of have to work kind of quickly and just kind of work out the edges as you go so that you don't have any hard edges. So kind of lay down your color and then sort of blend it out from the edges. There we go. Really, I'm kind of dry brushing at this point. I don't have any paint on my brush. I'm just kind of trying to work out those edges. A little bit up here in the corner, and then we're going to call it good. And most of this in the middle, I'm going to leave a lot of the lighter color in here. Okay, good enough. You might even use a little bit of this color down in here. A little bit of yellow with cadmium yellow light with my white, pulling in a little bit of that teal color. I'm going to put a little bit of that right up in here. Along this edge too. Okay. I'm going to grab some white and a little bit of the unbleached titanium and a little tiny bit of cadmium yellow light. Maybe add a little bit of that burnt umber to it just to kind of tone it down. We'll use that as our first layer on this plate here. Might be a little bit too dark. Grab a little bit more of the white. There we go. A little bit of burnt umber. We'll use that along that edge there. I'm going to grab some of the cobalt blue. Actually, I'm going to grab the teal. Mix that with all these colors. So it's got a little bit of brown, a little bit of yellow. We're just kind of making a dirty white. This is your dirty white color here, honey. A little bit in the just slightly on the blue-green side.
But no cad blue.
Kind of a gray. No cad blue. Grab some of the brighter white and use that right along that edge. And it's not a perfect edge. If you look at the original, it's kind of a little bit wobbly, so you don't need the lines to be perfectly straight. All right, a little bit more of the teal to up here with the teal. Kind of following the direction, the brush strokes kind of follow the direction of the plate. A little bit of white here. tiny bit of that Viridian. Use that right here. And right in here. And also a little bit up here. Grab a little bit of burnt umber, add that to the Viridian, gonna make a gray color, and then use white. Fill in right here with the gray. May not be that dark, but we'll add more layers. So just kind of trying to get the under layers in. Grabbing the burnt sienna. And I haven't cleaned out my brush, so it's kind of got all these colors in it. Burnt sienna and burnt umber. I'm gonna mix those two, make a kind of a reddish brown here, and I'm going to do a lot of lines around this lemon with this. This edge of this plate has a lot of this color. Okay, I'm just going to go ahead and use it on this lemon too while I've got it out. There's a little bit right here too.
Just want to say,
I'm going to use the blue here, that purpley blue that I mixed before. Go ahead.
I was just going to say, hey, thanks for joining us today. If this is your
Yes.
first time finding Angela's channel, give it a like and a thumbs up to subscribe. There's a link down below the video. There's all the supplies that she's using, links to purchase some of them, and also links to all her social media. It's kind of weird doing that.
What do you mean?
Well, in the Patreon,
Oh, I know.
One.
Yeah.
but we're looking ahead
Exactly.
for when it's
On the public.
public.
Yes. Okay, using this kind of brighter blue, white, or yeah. Okay, more white and a little bit of yellow this time. This color in here. Okay. Clean that out. And let's start putting in our base coats and our lemons. And we'll come back and add more to the white later. We'll let it dry. So cadmium yellow medium was kind of my main color for the lemons, and I added just a little bit of the emerald or the light green permanent to kind of green it down. And then I also had a little bit of the burnt umber with the cadmium yellow medium to make kind of a warmer shadow. And a little bit of the raw umber with the cadmium yellow medium to make kind of a neutral green brown, brownish yellow. Alright, so we'll use all three of those in different places here. I'll start out with some of my darker areas. I'm using the burnt umber one here. I'm just going to tap in kind of in our shadow areas, these darker areas here. I'm going to grab some of the cadmium yellow light and the cadmium yellow medium and sort of come back in the other direction with it right here. Blend those two together a little bit. This top one is a little bit brighter. It's probably a little bit too bright at this point, but we'll continue to work with it and tone it down. Some of this lighter color along here. Grab a little bit of that primrose to use right along that top edge. Use that burnt umber color right here. Some of that pink primrose and mix that with it. Grab some of that burnt umber color. We'll use that right here. Grab some burnt umber here. Go with a little bit darker shadow along the bottom of this one and pull up. Good idea.
I made a professional call there. Thought they might want to see that technique that you're doing there a little bit closer.
Good idea. You could switch to a smaller brush too if you are finding it difficult to maneuver with this little one. Grab this green.
You've just been using the same Filbert brush this whole
green.
time, right?
Mm-hmm. The yellow-green mix here. some of that primrose to use at the top. It's going to get dirty because it's mixing with what's in my brush, so that's normal. Grab some of that cadmium yellow light, do right here. This one, I don't know, right here on the plate, I'm going to grab some white to fix that. Use some of this light yellow, a little bit on the plate here. Just make it glow underneath when we put some more of our white in. Grabbing some of that raw umber, and I'm gonna tone this back down right here. Some of that color up here. I like that color. Grab some Viridian. And some of that raw umber here with the Prussian blue mixture. Do some really dark right along here. And right in here. And this is going to be, you know, multiple layers, so it'll look worse before it looks better. So just kind of know that going in, that, you know, it's going to be kind of like awkward at first. I'm going to mix a little bit of that burnt umber with that Prussian blue to kind of tone it down. I feel like it's a little bit dark right here. And put in a little bit of that color up here. There's kind of a connection between these two. On the plate kind of angles in here. I kind of brought it out when I was painting it in, but I need to bring it back in right here. Prussian blue, burnt umber, raw umber to make that black color. Alright, let's keep going with this. My yellows are getting dry.
Man, I hate when that happens.
Your yellows get dry?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just bugs the snot out of me.
Green, emerald green, raw sienna, and cadmium yellow medium here. We're just really making a variety of different yellows with our browns and greens. Can even make some yellows with, mix a little bit of blue with some of them to get different ones. Sorry. There's just a lot of different ways we can do it. And he's got a lot of different kind of tones in here, and it's hard to tell because there's so many lines over the top, sort of what the undercolor is on some of these. Grab a little bit more of the yellow there, too dark. So we don't want to go too dark too fast with this because we want to have that under the lines on top. So we can always darken it up after we put our lines in. And I wondered somewhat that if he had started this as a like a pen and ink sketch and then decided to add paint to it, because that's almost what it looks like. It looks a lot like one of his drawings with all the pen work and lines in it. Okay, do some dark right here. You're awfully quiet today, Ann.
Well, the 9 other people in chat aren't really asking questions.
We have a huge group of people watching today, huh?
We spent the first
awesome.
20-25 minutes getting everybody to be able to chat.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because they were having the same issue. I think in these unlisted videos that on computer you have to be using the Chrome browser in order for chat to work. So there are several people that were having a hard time doing that, but got that figured out for even me included.
Nice.
Yeah.
Well, I'll have to pass that on to YouTube because I've been trying to convince them that it's a problem that's real for a while. All right, cadmium yellow medium and a little bit of the cadmium orange and slight bit of green here. Yeah, that whole trying to convince YouTube that people were not being able to chat.
Yeah, we even send them a video of it not working.
And
they're like, no,
send me a
works.
screenshot.
Yeah.
Like, really? A screenshot? Oh, yeah. Sorry, YouTube. We love you, but we did have a frustrating time trying to communicate the problem. Burnt sienna? I'm glad you figured it out.
Mm-hmm.
Wipe the brush off here. Grab some cadmium yellow light with the green there. Mix these together. Okay. Go with the primrose right here. In that middle section. And the same thing over here.
So you may have already said it, but didn't you have a lemon tree in your house
I
where
did.
you grew up?
Yep. Lemons, oranges. I did. Those ants loved it, and I never remembered to wear my shoes to go get the citrus, so got a lot of ant bites. A lot of ant bites. Mom used to get so mad. Of course, I was only like 8 or so, but when you're outside playing around with no shoes on, which I spent a lot of my childhood with no shoes, it's just too much trouble to go back in and get shoes to go get an orange. It's right there. Surely I'm faster than the ants, but nope.
Of course.
Nope, not faster than the ants.
And then the next time?
And then the next time, same thing.
You still weren't faster, huh?
Nope, still not.
Jeez.
They were guarding it pretty religiously. They did not want to share their stash of citrus.
So
Grabbing the raw umber here, just in that corner there. What were you gonna say?
I was gonna say, so Swiss Mrs. said that she rinsed her brush in her juice the other day. I just want to know, have you ever done anything like that?
Oh yeah. That's why I have covered lids on all my drinks now. I only use the Yeti in the studio. They can't get the brush down there. I guess I could try. No. It's like a foolproof. It's angel proof.
Yeah, I don't see any paint marks on the top, so
No.
so far so good.
And I keep it
Like
on
you
the whole
tried.
other side of my water jar now too. So it's foiled by logistics and location. This is a raw umber here. Raw umber is similar to burnt umber. It's just a little bit duller. It's more of a black brown, a little bit more grayed. I don't use it that often because I prefer the warmer browns usually when I'm painting, but it's actually a good brown to have in your palette and to mix with. I really need to pull it out more often because it can create some good grays that you can't get with the, otherwise. All right, so we're getting pretty close here to pen and ink time, which is, in fact, I think we'll go ahead and do it, and we can come back and we'll add more shading and that kind of thing later. So go ahead and zoom out just a little bit. I'll show you my pen and ink. I'm going to put my palette in a plastic baggie if I can find one.
Man, it's so much easier when it's not taped down. You can move
I
around.
can actually move.
No, it's not.
Spray my palette, cover it.
It's not some form of abuse.
Plate. No,
She used to have a lapel cam that
Yeah.
we'd have to tape down so that the wires wouldn't make rubbing noises all through the video.
and it was annoying because it would get caught in my hair with the tape.
And I would get the look quite often.
Yes.
I don't get the look anymore, so I'm happy.
Exactly. Yes. All right, so this is a little doohickey here. I don't know if you can see it. Yeah, you can. Okay. Just keeps, you don't have to have it. I just got it to keep my inks from going everywhere, and it keeps me from accidentally spilling them, which I'm prone to do. So I've got black, brown, and then I mixed yellow with the brown for this color. Looks like I need to shake it up a little bit. And then I mixed orange with brown to get this kind of rust. It's actually not orange, it's These are my colors here. These are the Bombay inks. They're Indie ink, so they're permanent and light fast. They work well with acrylics. You could use acrylic ink too if you have them instead. They work just the same. So the set is down in the description. This came in a big set of all kinds of different colors. So it comes with black, brown, yellow, and then this orangey color is actually called bright red, and grass green. Those are the 5 colors that I'm using.
Do they come with the pens also?
No,
No?
You have to buy the pens separate. So the pens are down in the description too, and it's a fine, extra fine.
There you go.
Extra fine nib. They have different numbers on them, but it's basically this. It's got a very small. It's not a calligraphy nib. It's the small nib for sketching and lining fine lines. So, right, I'm going to use brown mostly.
Okay, so that's the Speedball sketching pen set.
Yes.
Okay.
Yep. I'm just going to start up here in the corner, and I'm going to do these vertical lines. Now, if you see how nicely it does on that. If you don't have the pen, what you could do is get, oh, I did that. Use your, something like this, and some black paint. Oh, I don't have my black paint, or my brown paint. It's a 1/2 inch flat, number 4 flat. And some brown, and just do your lines like this with the edge of the brush. The only thing with doing it with the brush is your lines are going to be a little bit less consistent maybe, but some of the lines underneath are pretty. I'm going to use a little bit of the glazing liquid just to kind of thin it down a little bit. Some of the lines are pretty thick, so I'm going to go ahead and do a few with the brush, and then I'll go over it with the pen too.
So when you're using the pen and ink, is there any special considerations that you need if you're going to seal the painting later with a varnish?
No, it's permanent, and I'll just it dries completely permanent, waterproof, so you don't have to worry about varnishing it or anything. It'll do just fine. I'm doing a bunch of vertical lines here. I'm actually liking using this brush for some of these bigger lines. And he may have done it with the brush. There's just some really, really fine lines in there that that I thought might have been done by pen. So do some a little bit more transparent than others, some darker. There's all kinds of little colors, so I would print out the original and see there's some lines that look like they're almost reddish, some that, I'll grab some burnt umber here, or burnt sienna. Mix that with the burnt umber to make kind of a more reddish brown. Do some lines in here with that. This whole section in here, it gets really dark. There's a lot of lines going on. Just try to keep them vertical. Such an interesting interesting look. If you get too much, you can kind of tap it off with a paper towel. I'm liking this brush, so I'm just going to keep on going with it for now. Get some of these background ones in here, and then we can go back in with some of the finer lines. Grab some raw umber. It's pretty dark right along here, so I'm just going to go ahead and put like a line right there. Can help us know where to start our lines. What you
Okay,
laughing at?
so I was looking up some lemon facts,
Okay,
and it says that, it's high in vitamin C,
right.
so that it means that it prevents scurvy.
Nice.
And it says that to this day, the British Navy requires ships to carry enough lemons so that every sailor can have 1 ounce of lemon juice a day.
Wow. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Why not oranges? Do lemons last longer? Are they better for scurvy, against scurvy?
It didn't go into that kind of a detail.
Okay, I'm just wondering why.
Probably because they're smaller.
Easier to...
I'm guessing. I don't know.
Well, yeah.
They're native to Asia.
Oops, I was off camera there.
Where?
All right, there at the end. I just moved it down.
Oh.
Okay. Grabbing some yellow-brown here. Some of these with the yellow-brown.
Doing lemon facts, of course, you have to go off camera.
Well, yeah, exactly. Everybody's so interested in the lemon facts, they didn't care. So.
Exactly.
They're like, more lemon facts, please. It's funny, when you say stuff like that, it just makes me wonder why. I know they have a reason, but then it just gets my mind going. So, okay, burnt umber, yellow mixture here. I'm going to use that up here.
It's probably because they can use it for other things.
Right.
They can use it in cooking. They can use it in their tea.
True. Oh, tea. That is British. Yeah, I'm sure that's probably why. They probably put it in their tea. You're right. You're such a genius, honey. I think that's true.
Okay. If you, I don't know if I'm putting myself in
I
the
feel better
category
now that I know the mystery of the lemon.
of Einstein, but okay. Theory of relativity. British and lemons.
Yeah.
Okay.
Close enough. All right. I don't remember which pen I was using. Here. These pens, by the way, you can just clean them out with water. So I think I left this one setting with brown ink in it. Hope it didn't. You just want to get the keep this. There's actually a split from here to here, so you want to make sure that it stays clean. All right, I'm gonna grab some of the black.
Somebody in chat said that he used a thumbtack.
Dan Gogh did?
That's what they said.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt it. I would not doubt it. There's a ton of little tiny lines right along here. And it probably wasn't the black. It was probably the this color. But I don't have that color in the ink, so we're just going to use this and cheat with the black ink.
He was probably a prankster and leaving him on the seats of other artists, too.
Maybe that's why he and Gogh didn't get along. I was like, not again, Vincent.
Oh, that's where I left my tack.
No telling. He made a lot of people mad. I think he was not an easy guy to get along with. He had a lot of failed relationships. And his brother Theo was about the only one that could stick with him through his whole life.
He was probably a member of the art police.
Van Gogh was?
Probably. If nobody liked him. I'm just saying.
I don't think he was. I think he was the anti-art police. I think that's why he didn't get along with people, because he was doing something original. People didn't understand. He was a very misunderstood artist in his time. I think he sold one painting, and that was to kind of like a friend of his brother's in his brother's art museum, or art gallery. Or I think his brother worked for an art gallery. I don't think he owned it, but I can't remember now, actually. It's been too long. I'm surprised I remember as much as I do, since I did how long ago was college? I guess I should have more.
Only about 4 or 5 years ago.
Yeah. So surprising I don't remember it as well. But there's a lot of really good movies out, actually, like the one with Kirk Douglas about him. It's very good. I can't remember the name of it. But he did a really good job of portraying him. It seems kind of unfair that his paintings go for millions now and he didn't see a penny of that, you know? Like, hopefully his brother's family, I don't know, I guess, because his brother died within 6 months of him, too, which I did not know that. So, that was... So I don't know who got all the paintings. Probably his widow. His brother's widow.
So they didn't have Patreon back then?
No. Well, I think they did have people that, he had a lot of people supporting him, obviously, because he didn't really have a job. But I think his brother was his main supporter. His family kind of wrote him off. My parents. They sent him to missionary school. They wanted him to become a minister, and he flunked out of that because he was living off of, he went and was preaching to the coal miners or missionary to the coal miners, whatever, and he didn't feel it was right for him to live in a big fancy house when they were living in, wretched conditions, so he lived in a shack on the ground and slept on straw and, kind of in solidarity, and the church didn't like it, so they kicked him out. So he's a very misunderstood guy. He just, and then he had a lot of relationships with questionable women. So that's.
So the name of the movie is Lust for Life.
Yes, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm just following these small lines that he's got going on. He's got some up and down little sections here. Just going quickly, not really worried about any individual line too much. I think it's better if you work fast. And I'm not pressing down too hard because I don't want to scrape the paint off, so I'm just kind of light. Grab some of the brown ink now. Do some of the brown. And then cross hatching. So let's cross hatch. We're just going to go at an angle. I'm using brown here. If we get it on the tablecloth, we can clean it up later. Wish that was true in real life. Ink on your tablecloth and it's not coming out. Okay, and I think most of the lines are a little bit bigger now, so I'm not gonna use my inks for those. I kind of found that I liked the look of the bigger brushes, so I don't know why I showed you all those colors because I didn't end up actually using them. Well, actually, no, I take that back. That's what I used them on the lemons. Okay, sorry. Grab the yellow brown color that I mixed there. We'll use that on the lemons here. Actually, a little bit of the red color too. Come on. Just kind of run it, dip it in my water, and then run it like this to get off the extra. Just make sure you don't press down too hard. You don't want the fibers of the towel to get in the cracks there. Okay, let's try that now. There we go. Grab some brown. Well, thumbtack makes perfect sense now because I can see that that would make good lines. I bet you could use a toothpick too and just wet down your paint. You know, you wouldn't even have to have the ink. You could just use your paints from your palette and a toothpick. In fact, let me try that. Oh, yep, works. Interesting.
I'll go around the house looking for other small pointy things we can try. Let me see. I'll go get out some forks.
Some forks.
Try that.
A fork.
Forks and knives.
You never know.
Oh yeah, you could use the end of a palette knife.
Mm-hmm. I actually thought about that.
Probably
too.
a lot of ink on it though.
Some go up like this. I'm liking the toothpick. It's giving a little bit thicker line.
So Judy wants to know, what could you use if you don't have ink?
Yeah, I would just use your acrylic paints and thin them down.
Just get them real watery
Mm-hmm.
and
Yep.
use a toothpick or something?
Use the toothpick. Yep, it's working just fine. Working just fine. Clean that out. Grab a little bit of the green. Yeah, because I kind of don't like how thin these lines are compared to the original. They're a little bit thicker in the original, so maybe if I had a little bit larger nib on my pen, I'm going to go ahead and set those aside and just use my paints. Get my paints back out. So I think I'll be happier with those. But thank goodness for this little thing to keep me. I was just worried when I was doing it. I didn't want to dump. Oh, I left my paints out, darn it. And I did use this brush to do a little bit of it, some of the number 2 flat. I'll grab some of the emerald green, a little bit of viridian. Actually, I'm calling it emerald. It's not emerald, it's light green permanent. I'm going to grab some of that lighter green color, mix it with some of that cadmium. It's that yellow green. I'm going to add some of that color into our lemon here. Lemons. A little bit there, a little bit here. What time is it? Already going. We've already been 2.5 hours for real?
No.
Oh.
Only an hour and a half.
Oh, an hour and a half. Okay, good.
Yeah.
Like,
Oh no, it's going along fine.
okay.
But I see what you're doing to me. You're
What?
slowly making them longer and longer and longer, so it's like, oh, 4
Kind of
hours.
like a lobster in water.
Yeah.
You're just going to have to start the pot boiling a little bit at a time. Increase the heat until he doesn't realize.
No, that's a frog.
Lobsters.
Lobster's water's got to be boiling.
Oh, you have to drop it in fully
If
boiled.
you're into that kind of cruel thing.
That's true. Yeah, that's right. That's what I meant.
Eggs.
I've done
like
lobsters
eggs.
before, actually. A long time ago when I was in high school. We had a neighbor that had lobster pots. He'd bring us some. We lived right there across the bay from Boston, so I've got the brown and green here, viridian and raw umber. I'm going to do the dark right here. Do the dark shadow.
Okay. Barbara's throwing out a challenge for you to use a toothpick and paint for the lines.
Okay.
She's throwing down the gauntlet.
Do it. Where did I put my toothpick? There it is. Okay, let's use this. This is the burnt umber. And I haven't thinned it out. It probably would work better if I had a little bit thinned paint. But it's working okay. Yeah, I definitely like it better than the pen. The pen just seemed a little bit less, I don't know, a little bit too perfect. Like, you can tell there's a lot more variety in the size of his lines than the pen was making, you know. It's just a little bit too uniform, so. But the pen is actually really nice to have. You could use it to sign your paintings too, in color if you wanted to. And it works with acrylic inks as well, so if you have the acrylic inks you want to use them with. Okay. And I'm going to go ahead and put those in, but I'll probably end up having to cover them up and paint back in. So there's that. I'm going to use the brush to do some of these lines. You really need to press your brush flat so that you get a good fine line on it when you're doing these lines. And some of that viridian right here. It's gonna look like a hot mess for a while, so just bear with me here. You know, it kind of just, it's layers of paint, just like any painting. Just takes, it's amazing. There's a lot of layer of paint lines underneath this green paint here. Just gonna grab some of the green and mix it with the brown. There we go. And then I'll probably cover up some of these with more paint. That's what I did with my example. Did the lines and then I covered it with paint and then did some more lines. Grabbing some yellow. Mixing that dark yellow green. Just kind of mixing with all the browns in my brush and the greens in my brush. And go back over some of these areas with this. A little bit of burnt umber with it, just to do an outline right there. Grab a little bit of burnt sienna, mix that in. We'll do an outline on this guy right here. And bring up that green up there. Grabbing some burnt umber here. I'm just going to lightly outline this.
Okay, I probably lied to everybody in chat earlier.
What?
So what style of painting is this?
It's post-impressionist. He was right on the edge of the impressionist movement.
Okay. So.
What were you saying it was?
Well, I had to Google pointillism, so I was
Pointillism,
like, oh yeah.
no.
Yeah, well, yeah, I've been chastised twice now, so. Post-impressionism.
Mm-hmm. That's where he fell in movement. I've also heard him, he's kind of leading around the edge of the expressionists, because he was much, more about, they're all very similar. They all were impressionists, technically. Even the pointillism guys. The pointillism was kind of a technique, a technical style, but they all kind of had their own little tricks. I think pointillism is really amazing looking and beautiful, but probably the most tedious form of painting, I would say, because it takes forever. I think that painting that we saw in the Chicago Museum of Art, you remember that one? The Sunday in the Park? I think it was a Seurat painting.
That was Chicago?
Mm-hmm. That huge one that had the monkey that we sent to Jordan, because we were like, there's a monkey in all these paintings. Don't you remember that?
Yeah, no, yeah. I do remember the painting.
It said I can't remember how many years it said it took him, but it was years for one painting. I was like, I just don't think I would have the dedication to spend years on a painting.
It's basically a mural is what it is.
Yeah, it's true. It was enormous. Okay, I need some of that dark black color there. Yeah. Burnt umber here. Not really calling out these colors very well, sorry. Hopefully you're able to watch along on the palette cam to see what I'm doing here. I got this color a little bit too dark in here. This area is not as dark. Burnt umber here. Do this little box thing here. There's a bunch of little lines this way. And then some vertical lines right here. Yeah, this is so against my normal style of painting. I like to do the blendy stuff. So it's really hard for me, because I look at it and I'm just going, there's something wrong with this. But I absolutely love his style. I just wish I could get, do it myself without feeling like it just feels so awkward and natural to me. I think the more I did it, probably the less awkward it would feel. But, since it's so not my normal style of painting, I just keep wanting to go in and fix stuff. It's coming along though. It's getting that feel. You can already kind of feel there's just a lot of energy to his paintings, which that's I think the one thing that makes him special. You can really see almost the emotions, that he was experiencing coming out in these paintings. They're so visceral. to do some faint lines in here, even though they're kind of mostly covered up. We'll go back in and cover them. Okay. Whoop. I got white in there for some reason. Okay, grabbing the dark now, I'm going to go back in here, up here, and darken up that area and clean my brush out. Well, actually, let me finish this first, and then I'm doing rabbit. I'm like, ooh, I need to do that. Just finish what I'm doing here. Do all the lemons. And we'll go back and do that. It actually goes up here like that. Thinking deep thoughts here. Really
That's
into
okay. I know you're getting into the zone there.
I am getting into the zone.
And I'm watching paint dry.
Really need to try it sometime, honey. It's pretty fun.
Mm-hmm.
$80,000 subscribers can't be wrong, right?
83 and climbing. Yeah.
Nice. It's amazing. The closer we get to 100,000, the slower it'll go. It just feels like, because it's like when we got to 70, I was like, oh, we're going to be at 100,000 before we know it. And then it's just like, it's only 82. It's like, what? Are we sure? I'm pretty sure I would have been at 100 by now.
Yeah, we just got to enjoy the ride all along the way.
Exactly.
Every subscriber.
Yep. Oh, for sure. For sure. Yeah. It's pretty unreal. Try not to think about it. It just freaks me out if I think about it.
Yeah, and then with the Taking Flight group and then the Thankful Art groups on Facebook, to see everybody's work that they're doing and hear their testimonies and their stories is
pretty cool.
It's pretty amazing.
Yes, it is.
You don't realize, how art impacts everybody's life in different ways and so forth, and it's really encouraging, because just like everybody else, we have our days where just like, oh,
right,
but reading everybody's testimonies is just really, really encouraging. It's like, well, yeah, it's making a difference, and it's pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, I know. I mean, painting definitely has impacted my life. I can't imagine what would be like without it, you know. It's just come back in with some of this lighter color. And I was talking to one of my patrons, and she's a psychologist. I think I've already mentioned this, but I still find it fascinating. She does art therapy, and you know, talked about how art is basically food for your brain. Especially if you're, you know, dealing with anxiety, depression, things like that, that it actually kind of takes you out of that mental headspace where you're, you know, replaying the same thoughts over and over again, negative thoughts, you know, and moves you out of that. You can't really dwell in that headspace while you're painting. You have to it kind of relieves you of those anxieties and things. And I thought that was pretty cool. I always kind of joked that it kept me sane while my kids were young, but I kind of think it was true. I think it's probably more accurate than I realized. Toddlers can make you crazy, that's for sure. I remember there's many times when I call Mark and say, Spencer is in his bedroom. I've closed the door. I'm not going in there. I'm really might hurt him. He was the worst out of all three of our boys, I swear. You'd think that, you know, by the third we'd had it figured out, but oh my gosh, he got into more trouble than the first two combined. So, like, I can't go in there right now. I can't even talk to him. He pulled my brand new sewing machine off the table, smashed it. He got into Jello pudding mix and got all over our white couch with it. Chocolate syrup in the playroom, all over the carpet.
He's just expressing himself artistically.
Artistically through food.
With a different medium.
Oh my gosh, that boy, it's lucky he survived his... Oh my gosh. After that, I definitely needed some paint to work out my aggression. Oh, goodness.
And I'm like, yes, she's not mad at me, so I'm all right. Come home, it's like, okay, she's upset. Is it me? Is it me? No. Yes. All right. Oh, man, honey, I'm really sad. They had a tough day today.
Oh, God. He waited until I went in the other room. That was the thing with this house. You know, I think it's because of the house layout. So with the younger boys, we had a smaller house, and so I could see them, you know, pretty much from the living room, wherever I was in the kitchen or whatever. But this room, this house, the kitchen's in a separate room from the living room. And so if I went in there to do anything, I couldn't see what he was doing, and he'd use that opportunity. Or if I went into the computer room, which was in one of the bedrooms, to do something, he would go into the kitchen and grab something and go back in his bedroom. And I found a melted ice cream under his bed once. Months later, you know, it was like a ice pop, you know, so he like stuffed it under there to hide it, I guess, because I must have come in and he left it under there to melt. So it was all melted in the poor carpet is ruined in that room. Ruined. We actually, by the time I got to it with my painting too, so it became my studio, my first studio in the house too. We ended up having to tear up that carpet eventually. Yeah. So funny. Boys. We survived there. So if any of the young moms in the group, I feel your pain. I've been there, done that. I used to live for nap time. paint. Okay, just kind of going through layer after layer here. Let me put in some green around this guy. Grab some of that Viridian. There's some lines this way. Tiny lines there. Grab some of that yellow. Just trying to kind of see in the picture where has some of these different colors. Every time you think you've got them all, you kind of see another, like, oh, nope, there's some in there too. Okay. Just a matter of trying to find all these little spots where he's added these details. I think we're close enough there. Let's go ahead and zoom out a little bit. We'll work on the background again. We've got a lot more cross-hatching to do on the background. We thought we were done with the cross-hatching. We're not. I'm going to get the bigger brush again. There we go. Let's start out with burnt umber here. See how we do. Go ahead and go along that line there. Just going to darken up all this area. Almost covering that black completely, so just really going in dark, leaving a few little pockets of the lighter color though. But right in here it's real especially dark right there. And I'm just going to set it up along that lemon and pull out. Do our lines this way. All the way up. A little bit darker with the raw umber here. Okay, and I'm going to grab the burnt sienna, a little bit of alizarin crimson. Kind of a rosy red-ish orange color. Do some lines right here, right above this middle one. kind of from these lines down, do some big lines right here, all the way down to this corner. I even do a little bit more red. Yeah, there we go. There's a few up here. A few very light over here. Grab glazing medium. There's a bunch of them right here. Shorter ones going all the way down in here. And right up here too. Grab some burnt umber, or burnt umber and a little bit of that pink color. Make kind of a purpley brown. There we go. Maybe a little bit of ultramarine blue too. There we go. Kind of almost a purpley. Scooter. Dog. What you need, Scoot? I think he wants to go out. He's just standing there looking at you like, I don't know why. Just wanted Mom's attention. Didn't want to go out, actually. I just wanted her to look at me.
We'll be back.
Okay. So Mark is left with the dog. Alright. Just kind of trying to figure out where he's put some of these lines. Using these different colors. Going back in with raw umber here, doing some nice dark ones. Mix in some of this Prussian blue with the raw umber, and do some of these black ones with this color down here. In fact, I'm going to put a few more lines down here while I've got it. That dark Prussian blue. Do the lines up here with that. Some of them. If your lines aren't small enough, you can switch to a liner brush and use a liner brush for this instead of the flat brush. It'll just take a little bit longer time. Grab the burnt umber and raw umber and alizarin here. Mostly raw umber. I'm going to go through here and darken up this whole area. Mark's back.
You're not done yet?
No, not quite.
Fine.
Just press my brush flatter so I get a thinner line. There we go.
So I wonder if Vince juggled any with these after he's done painting.
Juggled? Why?
I don't know. I mean, what else would you do with that many lemons?
Oh,
You think they were
they
doing
made
lemonade,
or something.
Did they have lemonade back then?
I don't know. They should have. If they didn't.
You probably didn't have
Awesome.
scurvy, that's for sure.
No, probably didn't. Grab some of that alizarin crimson brown color. And just wash in some. Use some water just to kind of thin it out. There we go. Just going to dirty up some of these brighter spots here now. Not too dark though, but don't want them quite as bright as they are. Alright, I think the background's pretty close. Let's work on the plate some. So there's a blue-violet color right along here. Lines. Grab some white. And we'll mix that right there. And I'm going to grab a little bit of that darker blue-violet and just put a little streak right there in the plate. wipe my brush clean, grab some more white. And now we'll kind of define this a little bit more. I'm going to go back over that, tone it down slightly, blend it in. A little bit of the, tiny bit of the yellow. Oh, we already got some yellow under there, so it should be pretty close. Put in, this is our brightest white part of the plate, is right in this area. Everywhere else is pretty kind of muddied white.
So I guess muddied white is...
There's a little bit of the violet color right under here. What?
Muddied white is darker than dirty white?
Oh no. Put a little bit of that violet color right there too. This lemon got kind of far away from that one. I don't know how that happened. Not sure how that happened. Maybe this one's supposed to be bigger.
Probably rolled over a
Might
little
have been
bit.
closer there. That's all right.
We're not starting over again.
No,
just let you
we're
know
not.
that.
I know.
Okay.
Just noticed it. All right, a little bit of raw umber here. With the white. Try some cobalt blue with the white here. If I can get that gray white color. It's got some of that raw umber still in it, so it's kind of going to gray it out a little bit. There we go. Use a little bit of it up here. Even use a little bit of the Viridian. Mix with that for up here. There we go. A little bit of Viridian. Go right along that edge. There we go. Nice. We want to pick up that blue-green from the background. Put it in the rim here. Grab a little bit of the cobalt. Mix that with the Viridian. Make kind of a teal color too. Viridian, cobalt. Gonna make a teal. That looks good. Use that right here. Maybe a little bit of white. Good. And right here. Grab the white, just blend those together. More white, maybe a little bit of the yellow green. were choking over there. Okay, a little bit of the dark green right there. Grab some of the brown, do it right there. Some of that burnt umber, it had a little bit of that alizarin crimson mixed in. I'm going to grab some of the cadmium yellow light, mix that with it, and a little bit of raw umber. I'm going to make that lemon a little bit bigger right there. Let's grab the cadmium orange now. Really, this is kind of a redundant color because you can get something similar with your alizarin crimson mixed with your yellows. I'm just kind of mixing those colors to get this orange that's right here. It's still a little bit too bright. Grab some burnt sienna, mix that with the orange. Try that. A little bit better. There's just like two little lines there. There's a couple of little ones here. Some bright orange underneath there. Now we're getting kind of nitpicky. This is where we're putting the last few little details in. So this is kind of orangey right there. A little bit of the orange in this one, just a slight bit, a little bit on the plate, right there, a little bit on the plate right here. Okay, let's grab some of that Viridian green. I've still got this orange in my brush, so it'll kind of tone it down. We'll use it right here on the plate. Boom. Do those diagonal lines right there. It's kind of a bright blue outline on this top rim of this plate here. So I got ultramarine blue and white in my brush. I'm just going to outline this top with the ultramarine blue. Rub it in a little bit. I feel like this could be a little bit brighter, so I'm going to add a little bit of white to the ultramarine, just a slight bit of white. Maybe even a little bit of the cobalt. Go back over these little spots and brighten that up right there. It's actually kind of purpley almost. Let me grab some alizarin crimson and add that. Okay. That's better, I think, maybe. Almost there. Okay, so let's put in our last little bit, which is our highlights. So we'll want the primrose and white, and hopefully I can get some good, find a clean spot here on my palette. Grab a little bit of clean white, blend those together. So the first layer here is just going to be kind of lay down some bright color. Probably not going to be the color that we want it to be right off the bat, so we don't have to worry about that. But we just need to lay down some of this lighter color in here. Wherever these highlights go. In any place you see any white highlights or white dots or lighter colored areas, or if you went in too dark in some areas where you need a little bit more of the light, you can go back in and add that now. Back in. Add a few lines of it down here. These ones goes this way. I'm going to grab just primrose and go back over these areas. And if you don't have primrose, just use your cadmium yellow light. If you don't have that, just use your cadmium yellow medium. Maybe add a little tiny bit of green to it, because the cadmium yellow, the primrose and the cadmium yellow light are on a little bit more on the green side of the scale. So a little bit of green leaning color. And I need to get that kind of brown green mixture, put some back in right here and right here. Cadmium yellow light and burnt umber, I think, or raw umber. Maybe a little bit of the green. Yeah. Coming in from the opposite direction with some lines there. A little bit darker. There we go. Clean up those lines if I need to on the outline. little bit of this color along the outline of this one. It's raw umber and cadmium yellow light here. I want it pretty dark because this is our shadow area. Grab some raw umber. Put our shadow back in. There. Put a little bit of shadow back in right here. A little bit dark right here. I'm grabbing some of that yellow color, and there's kind of a drop highlight right here on the back side. All right, getting there. Almost there. 30-minute warning, right?
You beat me to it.
No, I think it'll be less than that, but
Less than 30
we'll
minutes. Okay, time
We'll
check.
see. Yeah.
We won't include the time for Stick Woman either.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. I'm kind of like that.
Thanks. This is cadmium yellow light. Get out some of these orange tones in the yellow. It seems like they're still a little bit too orange, so I'm just kind of going back over some of these areas and adding in more of this greenish yellow color. This will also blend in any of those lines that we want to soften. Get some more highlight color here. The primrose. Do some vertical lines on this. Do some vertical lines up here. Just making small color adjustments here, just kind of trying to get my values correct. Making sure I didn't miss any colors, making sure that this dark area is dark enough so that it looks rounded. Oh, you're fine. And then I can go back in and add back in any of these dark lines that I need to emphasize. Green. Viridian and Prussian blue here. Oops, I was off camera there. Not paying attention, obviously.
Honestly, I had been, but...
Okay. You say that every time. It's always like...
Well, I made a comment, and then you go off.
I was waiting for you to...
You watch me out of your peripheral vision.
Like, oh, he's not looking, yes.
Go wild.
Wander away from the edge. Okay, grabbing some burnt sienna, and that to that Viridian green here. Just making a dark brown for this bottom edge. I feel like this could be a little bit bigger here. I'm going to add a little bit of teal and viridian, a little bit of yellow, maybe a little bit of cobalt blue. Okay. No, still not right. Okay, wait. Cobalt. Here we go. A little bit of brown. Let's use a little bit of that yellow-green color mixed with our white. Actually grab some of the orange too. Brown. A little bit of yellow. Almost done here. Just these final little bits. I'm going to add some brighter white along this front edge here. Hope you guys try this. It was really fun trying to figure out his methods, and like I said, you don't really have to. I'm trying to get it as close to the original as possible, but you could really just kind of play with this and do your own thing with it, you know, explore your own style, see what happens. Use your own expressive brush strokes, find out. Adding a little bit of teal here. It's been fun. How much time are we at?
Total time?
Since I said.
Only just under 13 minutes.
Okay, see, I knew it.
But you haven't done Stick Woman yet.
True. You said you weren't going to count her.
Oh, that's true. Okay. You haven't signed it yet. And you haven't looked at it and said, oh, well, one more thing. Oh,
Okay.
Oh, one more thing.
One more thing.
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. Let me do this real quick. Cute.
You know that. You know me so well. I would say this one's not going to get the cute.
Oh, it's not going to get the cute, huh?
I don't think so. It's not a cute.
Lemons just don't get the same respect.
This one might get it pretty. There's some kind of random brush strokes down in here that are sort of have some white in them and other things. All right, I don't know, what do you think? Pretty close. Close enough for today. For 3 hours. How long has it been? Yeah, almost 3 hours.
2 hours and 40 minutes.
Hey, I wonder how long it took him. Probably not that long. Maybe,
Well,
I don't know. You never know.
Probably longer, I would
Probably
say,
longer.
for sure.
He was probably designing it, so it took a little bit more.
You're going to go down
brain
the
power.
store, get the lemons, get a plate out of the dishwasher,
Well, he didn't have one to copy like I did, so.
get a clean tablecloth.
Okay, I am seeing something. You're right. Right here, there's a little lump right there. Okay, I'm gonna stop. Yeah, I'll sign it myself. I kind of wondered about the whole signing it. It seems kind of weird signing my name to a reproduction, but I can mark on the back. Reproduction of Van Gogh. Original painting by Van Gogh. Okay, so let's get our little...
Let's do some lemons.
Lemon, yeah. So is she holding a lemon in her other hand? Is that?
Sure.
Or let's just do her dress like the lemon.
Okay. Oh, yeah. So this is Stick Woman.
Yes, she's our
Yeah.
mascot.
Mascot
A
for
lot of-
Patreon.
Yep. Yeah, she's got her own special Patreon only.
And it's pretty incredible. It's something I drew.
There we go. She got the lemon dress. She got the shading like.
Oh, she's got the Van Gogh lemon
she got
dress.
the Van Gogh lemon dress.
It's gonna
Baby,
be all
yes,
the girls
give
are gonna
her-
be wearing that this fall.
Give her a highlight. I like it. All right, guys. Thanks so much for watching today. We really appreciate you. Here, I'll put the original back on there. And if you haven't already, please subscribe. I've already said that, but subscribe to the channel. And we do this twice a week, so I hope you will join us for those. And I don't know what we're doing this Tuesday. Next Saturday, we'll have a recording because we'll be on vacation. Yay. So if you're watching in the future, if you're watching in July, our Patreon folks.
2017.
Yeah, exactly. we'll have a recording next week, but we will be back on Tuesday night with a live show.
Tuesday live, yeah, for everybody.
All right.
Like, subscribe.
Give it a thumbs up.
Thumbs up.
And if you want more information about all the things and where to go for Patreon and all that good stuff, it's down in the description. Click Show More, and it'll drop down. Thanks, guys. See you next time.